Hey, good morning, and thanks for tuning in to Concrete and Coffee, presented to you by Glue Down. I'm your host this morning, Cliff Saunders, and today I have a very special soldier of service, the Dean of Delivery, Mr. Mark Tidwell of HK Ties. Mark, good morning.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks for being on here. We always like to talk about what we start our day off with as far as the beverage goes, and like I said, I'm just enjoying a quick cup of coffee, nothing fancy, still Folgers, with a little squirt of Hershey syrup in there because I got that sweet tooth. So you're orange juice free this morning, or did you already have your glass?
I get up pretty early, eat breakfast every morning, and have orange juice. My wife is she's a better soldier than I am. She wakes up and makes me breakfast every morning. So
Oh man, that's nice, man. I don't think I eat breakfast until like, I don't know, like 8:30 if I'm at home anyways. If I'm out on the road with Chad, it's it's as early as I can get him out into the the breakfast spot at the hotels and stuff to before we go out and do our business. But yeah. Well, I have you on here today because I wanted to bring some light to some of the things that we have in the greater Utah area, and probably other people are experiencing across the rest of the country in the distribution end. And that's just the challenges that come with being a distributor. But you're in a unique position because at HK Composites, you guys are a manufacturer of the sandwich panel systems, as well as being a distributor of other systems for tilt bracing and all that stuff. Would you be able to enlighten us on that a little bit?
yeah, so the main company's focus is the sandwich panel system. We pre-cut all of our foam for the sandwich panel concrete wall. We try to provide a service where it's a full tilt division here. We will pre-cut their foam for their wall, provide their pins, provide their supply for lift and bracing, all of the lift inserts, brace inserts, provide all of their rustification or reveal, as some people call it, with the glue down product, which has been an excellent product for us. We use not a ton of it, but it just depends on where, what customer I'm selling from. Some customers will only use it. Some customers I haven't quite got transferred yet, but we'll get
Hey,
it there.
hey, you know what? We're not all the fastest learners, and one day the world will see the plus sides of adhesives.
That's
So,
true.
uh, can you tell us a little bit about your installation system? I don't want to dive too much into it because I'm here to focus on you and the challenges and things that you do there. But tell us a little bit about HK.
No, so HK started Dave started about 20 years ago. He came from a rocket scientist background, super smart guy. And he had an order from Dubai. A customer out there called him up and wanted to create a sandwich panel. It was still fairly new to the market, and he developed a tie for him. And after all the development and produced several thousand ties, the order never went through. And it was kind of a struggle for him back and forth. He struggled in a small office with a gentleman. And then the gentleman that he partnered with was a insulation guy, a home insulation, batting, blown in insulation type of guy. And then they got in with, I think it was Dow at first, um, produced hard, rigid insulation paneling, came up with the system, and ended up regaining that customer. They still didn't sell insulation to him, but they did sell the ties to him. They developed back and forth. So that was a pretty good boost for him. Um, Dave wasn't a big sales guy at the time. He was kind of a quiet, reserved guy, and his business struggled for a little while. And then his son, Jordan, who's now the VP of it, him and a friend of his were out doing other things and just finished up business management school and decided to go into business with their dad and took it to the next level. Um, there for about 5 or 6 years, they took all the sales, did all the cutting, made all the pins, and delivered everything. Just three guys. They struggled for quite a while, and finally, it just took off. Utah itself developed a huge concrete market for tilt up, and it just took their company to the next level. I actually came in. I built a house for Dave after their
Okay.
company started going. I built Dave's house for him because I was a general contractor for a while, about 25 years, and I was at the point I broke my back a while ago, and
Ooh.
it's just one of those, it's rough packing material, doing all the work. I was doing the same thing. My dad had retired from the company. So then it was myself and one other gentleman, and he offered me a job here. And I thought, you know what? It's about that time for a change. I enjoy talking to people. I have the background as a soldier, talking, being a platoon sergeant in the military, and I don't have a problem talking to several people. So being in the cells that I was in, being in the lifestyle I lived, it was just a good change for me. I came over and started working with them on the foam and ties, and then Jordan decided that he wanted to do a full tilt only, one-stop shop. We'll do the engineering, the design, the installation, the ties, and then come with providing lift and brace inserts, all the rustification, all the adhesives, all the bond breaker and bracing and lifting hardware. And so I took over the supply side and built that business up.
Which, for you guys who don't know, that's Mark and I used to be competitors. My business was like 15 miles down the road, and we went after the same customers. And I have to tell people out there, Mark was the best bears competition that was probably the healthiest for the business. And man, when we'd be at the same customer, there was even that one time we were both at a Jacobson job, and we're like, "Hey," and it's like, "Hey," and you let me do my thing, and I expected a little bit of conflict, but there wasn't, man. And you're a class act out there. You were like, "That's." I think you got your how you keep your composure. I think that comes from your Army background and your training. Keep your composure.
Yeah. Well, I believe in healthy competition. I always, if you're the only one in the market, then you kind of get stale. You see that with some of these big companies where they just have dominated a market, and then they're staying in business because they've dominated a market. They have poor customer service, poor relationships, and that is my bread and butter. I can go find my customers for the guy who is still using the same customer for years, and it just doesn't get customer service that it needs because he's now just a regular guy.
Yeah.
So he's my number one guy, and it works out well.
Well, so you do a lot of stuff at HK, and that I've seen for myself, but what does your role entail specifically? Like, what is specific? This is what Mark does in the company, because I know you're out there on the forklift. I know you load some stuff. Give us kind of a run through of all the things that you kind of do throughout that company. That might not even be official jobs of Mark.
Uh, I do quite a bit. My title is outside Utah sales, which is works out great for me. But being that I have a construction background, I generally repair most of the things. I've helped out a lot with design. I've helped out with storage here, building, racking, shelving, just a lot of setup, a lot of ways to get product out the door faster because of organization. We moved into this new building, and it was Jordan was still trying to get sales, Kevin was still trying to get sales, and Andrew was working his butt off trying to get things organized. So I was able to help him out. That he's a hard worker.
Andrew?
Andrew he's the glue that holds this company together. That's for sure.
Yeah, I actually got to have a nice powwow with him in the office, about 2 weeks ago, man. And getting to know him a little bit more has been really cool. Maybe one day I'll have him on here, because being the guy that bids those jobs and stuff, that's a challenge in itself. But
Well, let's see. I started out trying to bid a lot and keep everything going. And Andrew really took a lot off my plate, being that he's done a lot of that. You know, a lot of these big commercial tilt projects were new to me for bidding. So I was not necessarily missing stuff, but I was a lot slower than he was.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
really
you got a
helped.
lot. You have a lot more varied tasks that aren't similar.
Yeah,
I understand how that can take a toll on your time and fluidity on getting stuff done.
yeah.
Well, you do so much within the company, and HK as a company, has gotten into the whole package for tilt up and stuff. Have you seen a big challenge, especially with the giant boom in Salt Lake, and then you guys do stuff outside of Utah as well, with the supply and the demand? Because my experience has always been when contractors need something, they need it now. And since they got so much going on, it's always hard. It's not often that you find a contractor that can stay on top of, hey, we're down to our last nail and we need something out here fast. How does that work out for you?
Literally, that's exactly how it goes. Hey, I need something tomorrow, and hopefully I have it on the shelf. I mean, that's my biggest thing. We don't have a lot of room with the foam here for a big supply, storage area. So we
Hmm.
try to drop ship as much as possible. But I do really try to stay ahead of the game, knowing what each customer wants and needs.
Hmm.
But I'm sure as you've found out, wants and needs are far from reality of I need it tomorrow and I need 10 cases of it. So
When you do that, is it harder getting ahead of that on the sandwich panel system side or all the accessories that come with doing the entire project?
sandwich panel system side is generally easy flowing because we have the whole project. We know what is going into each panel so we can push that out a little further. Usually I can get ahead on the supply side the same way because I have the whole project. I know what's going to happen. But then either stolen materials, lost materials, damaged materials, and they need it the next day.
Yeah.
They're Monday at 5 a.m. and it's Friday night.
Yeah.
So that's when I get my phone calls.
So running all this stuff and having to manage it yourself, well, your team, but running it out there and getting it to them super fast. Do you think your military background helped the supply end as far as getting systems down and, like even disciplining, like how you discipline yourself and or a team?
Yeah, definitely. Because I try to keep in the military side. I'm over about 150 guys. I have to keep their pretty much everything. It's like a big babysitter. And I don't like to say that for military guys, but most of the guys there are from 18 to 22,
Hmm.
leaving their parents' house and trying to make it in the world on their own and becoming a man. I mean, or a woman. Not to downplay any women by any means,
Oh yeah.
but yeah, just knowing that my dedication as a soldier has brought in the civilian side of, hey, guys, this is how it is. There's no, you can't have it. There's no next week. There's no, I'll get it to you when I can. It is, you'll find it. If you have to go to your competitor and buy it off his shelf, you'll get it to him. And I'm super happy of me and my guys on our customer service because I can generally get it to them next day, even if I'm buying it off of your shelf.
not that case anymore, but lately I've been it's like the roles have been reversed. I'm like, hey, I need this. Well, I know Mark's got that. Maybe he'll help me out. So
It's really worked out. Jordan's given me a little bit more area. We've got an end of a building now that I can have, so I can hold a little bit more stock, which has really helped out.
yeah, it's kind of like for the accessories and the rest of the package side. That's
Yeah.
nice. Well, has there been like well, what's been the biggest struggle if you or challenge? Let's put it that way, challenge for being a supply besides the short notice stuff. Is it like is it managing guys? Is it just keeping supply and demand in balance? What would you say had to be the biggest challenge, either being on the manufacturing end or being on the supply end?
Um, Probably my biggest challenge, and I know that manufacturers that supply to me don't like to hear it, but is just getting the product in a in an orderly time. You know, if it generally takes a week to ship something across country. I've had one um, customer of mine that I deal with that I buy from, you know, that usually is, I don't hear if it's back order, I don't hear if it's late shipping. So I'm kind of chasing them down all the time. That's probably my biggest challenge is not knowing where the product is so I can get it to my customer.
Now, what do you think helps remedy that situation? Because I know exactly what you're talking about right there. What do you think is like, what do you do now currently to try to help minimize that on your end the best that you can?
What do I do? What I do now is about every 2 days after an order, I have our secretary downstairs call religiously, you know, because the customer or the person that I buy it from is, I don't know, their whole group over there are a bunch of older guys,
Hmm.
and they still, I swear they live in the 80s still. You know, even their secretary over there is over 50. And so it's just the mentality of it used to be when it wasn't fast and everything was, you know, Utah is such a fast market right now that it's
Oh
just
yeah.
like when you get it. And I'm like, I can't work that way. You know, I have to have it within a week. And if not, I need to know that it's not coming so I can let somebody else know. That's
Yep.
probably my.
Yeah, man. I feel you on that one. Uh, on the glue down end, you know, most of our guys, our stocking distributors stay on stuff pretty good, but the ones that don't stock so much, it's a constant, especially in certain areas where it's, well, they need it tomorrow. How fast can you get it here? I'm like, I can get there tomorrow. It's just, are you willing to wanting to pay that cost? You know?
That is true. Cost is driven quite a bit. A lot of these guys who are big customers that want it next day understand that there is a cost. But it's just getting the distributor to get it out. You know,
Yeah,
get it. I've never had a glue down has actually been really good. I've gotten a email that says, "Hey, it's shipping out today," or "It's shipping out tomorrow, and this is how much I have." If I had that from every customer, great, but I don't.
yeah.
So,
So wrapping it up here, like, if you had one key thing of advice for guys that are either A, in the outside sales and service, because there's guys out there saying you're in sales, you're not in service. But I want to say if you're in the tilt up or concrete market, you're in service. What would your advice be to them if you can narrow it down to like have a catchphrase or high five everyone you know as soon as we're done with quarantine? What would that be if you had one?
well, so I have business cards printed for my military side that I give to my soldiers, and on the back of it, it says, "Be the leader you'd follow."
Hmm.
So, be the salesman you would buy from, I guess is the correct thing. And if you are in sales, you are in service. I don't care what anybody says about that because anybody who's sold something not behind a counter knows that there is a whole bunch of delivery and making sure that the products are right and making sure that the customer understands how to use it and is comfortable using it, especially if it's your product.
Yep.
So my catchphrase, I guess, for sales would be the salesman you would buy from.
That and everybody Wang Chung tonight. Well, that's awesome, man. I always like hearing it from everyone's point of view, especially like in the service area, like in the supply end, because that's been my background for the last 6 years. And man, getting to know you over this past year has been really awesome and seeing what you guys do there at HK. For those of you guys who don't know, it's a very cool facility. These guys treat you really good there, and you can tell that they're in it to take care of you in the best way. And if there's a problem of any kind, because we all have problems, like things don't always work out, they're there to address it for real. And it's just not scrambling away. And not only that, but come up your next turkey day. If you need to shred some chicken, I'm just saying, if I can't find my like little shredder tongs, I'm using this thing because that's a serious tie, buddy. But I appreciate you being on here with us this morning. I know you have a lot going on every morning, and I see you out there with the trailer or running braces or glue or reveal and foam. Honestly, really appreciate your time out here today. And the rest of you guys, if you don't know, it's hkties.com, and check out their products as well as Mark. You can find him on LinkedIn, even though he's not on there too much. He's going to be a little more active, I bet, after this.
And I have
But
to be.
that's right. And as well, the rest of you guys, check out our YouTube page, Glue Down, and check out our latest videos where we release products on the regular, and HK's YouTube page where they have lots of videos on their products as well. Until then, we'll see you next time, guys.
Thank you.